debate between a bunch of people, a bunch of candidates that are running for county commissioner and other positions. And I intend to, if available, ask some pretty tough questions to our commissioners. Yeah, so I'm gonna go in there here in a second. I'm gonna finish a little bit more of this beer and have a little bit more of a cigarette. Mark, good evening, everybody. How are y'all doing? Time is it exactly? 5:59. Oh, it's 1 minute to 6. All right, so I'm gonna take a few hits of a cigarette and I'm gonna walk in. Are you subscribed to my YouTube on your YouTube or?
No.
No?
No, I don't think that.
Yeah. Hey Annie, I am in the truck. Brian drove me to town. I'm about to go into a meeting, a debate of people that want to be county commissioner. So, yep, and it's 6 o'clock right now. Time to go in. I'll go ahead and lock this. All right, here we go. I forgot to put on my belt. Damn it. Let me put my cigarette out here. All right, here we go.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, nice to see you.
Crossing that line and getting. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Brandy.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
It's crossing that line and going.
That music's
Got a pretty good turnout. Hey, can I ask, is everybody going to be going up and speaking right at the podium?
I think so.
Okay, can I add my little extra mic right there so it shows up good on the live stream? Brandy, I'm so happy to see you. I hope we get to talk to the people because I've already, dude, I got notes. I plan on ripping into John Sweet's ass, bro. I hope I get to talk.
I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
I have some.
Okay, hold on. Let me go put this mic up here so it's ready to go.
Yeah.
I got one of the neighbors to drive me.
Will that work?
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah. Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah. Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, dude. Listen, I don't have headlights on the car, so I've been trying to like getting to these things after dark is a hard thing, like the Subaru.
Is it like remotely fixable or is it like a
No, the wires are completely melted together. The like little adapters are melted. It's yeah. But a few people from church offered to help pay for it, but like I don't want to ask people from church, because I got silver and crypto and stuff. Like I got a savings. I just don't have money in the bank. You know what I'm saying? Like my investments are different,
also
but
some of those electrical things you take it in and then it like snowballs.
right. Yeah.
All right.
What a beautiful crowd here. All right, I'm gonna go sit down over here. All right, brother. Love you. So
The way that cover sheet, that motion sheet was worded, they couldn't have voted yes because it was an ethics violation. Rod, excuse me.
right.
Rod both you and John, and then threw them on, let them get thrown under the bus, and then he didn't say a fucking word about the fact that he fucked up. He worded motion wrong to the point where it was something they couldn't have voted yes on.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No.
And Ron stated out of this with no one actually bringing up the fact that he is professionally negligent.
No. I agree. There was the wording on the entire thing to ban it, but still the fact that they wanted to. It doesn't matter if it's $200 or $2. Like it was an ideological thing. Yeah.
The thing is, they have to do their job right.
Right.
Like
They only had one choice.
it kind of pissed me off that Rod put John in that position because he kind of
Right.
like he created this big mess, and then Drew and John
They're like, what are we supposed to do? Yeah.
it was a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
And I feel like he
Well, so I think, so definitely Rod, what he did is he utilized a social situation in order to gain up support and make his opponents to this social situation have to say, okay, we did a bad thing. It's like a disingenuous, right? You're right.
So he can't,
Disingenuous. Yeah.
you can't use your personal morals to govern the public ethic.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I get it.
And
Testing. All right. We're gonna get started, everybody. How's it going tonight?
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm
though.
Chris Castleman. I'm the vice chair of the local Coos County Republican Party and one of the members of this group. This group is Friends of Coos County Republicans. It's a political action committee that we formed to be able to do things like this. So we're gonna have a very tight schedule tonight. I want to try and get you guys out of here before 8 because I know you guys have busy lives. But we have 7 candidates that are going to speak tonight. So each one, yep, that's awesome. I haven't made an agenda. It's so simple, right? Just stick to those 3 things and we'll be out here by 8. So yeah, each
Everything
candidate will
else.
about 10 to 15 minutes. So I know that's not a lot of time for each candidate, but it'll give you a little insight into their campaign. And I would encourage you to connect with all of them through their website, social media, and if available after, in the vestibule, you can meet with them later. That'd be really cool. So do we want to start with a pledge and a prayer?
Join me in addressing our banner and our creator.
Shit.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father God, we are very thankful, especially right here. Everyone here is united in our appreciation for the liberty that we have. And we know that this is something to cherish. It's actually rare in this world and throughout time. And I pray, God, you would give us wisdom to make the decisions we need to make. I'm so thankful, Father, all of us are, for the privilege that we have of choosing our own leaders. And I pray that you would just give us wisdom, and thank you for your presence in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Stan. So I'm gonna throw this up as a teaser and I'll get on this later. So actually, back to our schedule. So we have this candidate section. If that's what you're here for, thank you so much for coming. You're welcome. Everyone is welcome to stay for the later portion, but that's more like our local conservative movement. It's this PAC's like business meeting. We're gonna go over some of the committee reports, some of the financials, and our plan for the primary election. Again, you're totally welcome to stay, but we also won't be offended if you leave at 7:20 or whenever we finish. So this is a graph that shows the last decade of contributions to the political parties here in Coos County. So this is just Coos County. Blue are the Democrats, red are the Republicans. And I'm going to talk a lot more about this later at the end after all the candidates, but money's a big part of campaigns. It's not everything, but it's kind of the gasoline on the fire, right? You need a spark to start a fire. Those are the candidates that we're going to hear from tonight. You need fuel for the fire, the logs, right? The thing that keeps it burning. That's all you guys. You're going to keep that fire burning in those candidates, but you need the gasoline for them to win that election. And if you ever sat around as a conservative and you said to yourself, why are we not winning school board elections? Why are we not winning city council elections? Why are we not winning county commissioner seats? I think this might have something to do with it. So if you look at the past couple of years, wow, the Democrats have been doing a really, really good job.
That's Coos County.
That's Coos County. So again, I'll touch on this later, but just some food for thought when you're thinking about how to get involved, why to get involved, and why it matters. These are some recent events we've had. We were at the Egyptian Theater for a movie night. We supported them after they held our Turning Point event, which is down here in the corner. That was awesome. How many of you guys came to the Turning Point event? That was pretty cool. We're hoping to do something like that big every quarter. We're doing a governor's debate March 14th. That's our spring event, and then we'll do something this summer. But we had a dinner. Those are pictures from the dinner. The picture in the top right corner is during the Turning Point week, when we had representatives here, we had a couple, Doug and Gail. I don't know if they're here tonight. Yes, thank you guys so much. They took the Turning Point representatives around to some of the local high schools. And that's a picture from one of them. I think that's Riverview. Yep. Question.
I want to make a comment. Right now, the principal from Riverview High School, the administrator, Cody Carlson, the guy that started it, is currently in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and is being held there by the cartels. So any prayers that we can put towards Riverview and Cody and his wife, their children are still here. They went on a vacation without their children, just him and his wife on like a mission and a vacation. But the principal of that school is currently stuck in Puerto Vallarta, and I texted him a few days ago, and he's in contact with the State Department in order to get himself and his wife home. So let's put our prayers on Cody Carlson and his wife. Pardon?
Can you do that right now?
Pardon? What are you
Pray
asking?
for us right now?
Pardon?
Can you lead us in prayer right now?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Dear God, thank you for all the blessings we have here in our county, and thank you for bringing us all together. One of our own, a leader of our community, a leader of the school system in our community, Cody Carlson and his wife, they are currently stuck in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and the cartels have taken over that area. They're struggling for food and they're struggling for a way out. But let's pray that we can bring them home, God. We can bring them back to our community. We can bring them back to our right here with us, safe and sound, God. And in Jesus' name and the power of the Holy Spirit, I pray. Amen.
Sorry.
You're good. And what makes the Turning Point Week so special is that we were able to engage with our youth. If we don't do that, we're ruined. We have a big opportunity with, Charlie Kirk, the way he inspired people, and the way that kids are seeing how things are going, the way the country's going. So we have a great opportunity to reach the youth. And we were all sitting here like, man, like what would be the best scenario for someone graduating high school right now? You'd be like, man, I wish 18-year-olds, when they turn 18, they'd wake up in the morning, and the first thing they'd do, they would go on the internet and register Republican. Register to vote at least, and then maybe register Republican, right? Well, we have somebody in the room tonight who did that very thing yesterday morning. I'm going to embarrass you, Ben. Ben texted me yesterday morning on the morning of his 18th birthday that he registered Republican. So this is Coos County's newest Republican. Congratulations. All right, we're a little bit behind schedule already. Thank you. So again, we don't have a lot of time for each candidate, but we do want to make it worth our while. So 3 to 5 minute introduction for all the candidates. And when you're asking questions, please don't give a speech. Like just ask a question, very quick, simple question, and make sure it's relevant to the position. Don't ask our commissioners if they can like solve global warming or something like that. So, yeah. These candidates are for the May primary election. These are on the ballot. We have state representative. Coos County is like split in half. North is District 9 and South is District 1. You have 2 commissioner seats, clerk, sheriff, and then precinct committee person. That's a QR code if you want to sign up to be a precinct committee person. This is like your entry level to politics. This is how you get involved. You have to be registered Democrat or Republican, but I would encourage either to get involved with their party. That's the best way to start getting involved. That graph at the beginning, which I'll bring up later, the way you make different decisions to influence that graph is by becoming a PCP. So, all right, Claire, you're up. Claire Lynn.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Claire Lynn. I am a 7th generation Oregonian and a very, very proud logger's daughter. I grew up in Florence and am a Saipsa High School graduate. After college, I worked on Capitol Hill for Republican members of Congress, where I gained experience at the federal level and have since worked in a myriad of different policy and communication roles in the House Republican office. Most of my days are spent trying to kill horrendous bills or make bad bills a little bit better. My family also has a cow-calf operation based out of Florence where we produce our own hay in the summers. And my husband and I live outside of Elmira and we're actively involved in that. As quick as I could after the last long legislative session, we took off and I couldn't wait to get on a tractor and go help my grandpa with hay season because let me tell you, 6 months in the state capitol, you will want to get out of there. Outside of my work life, I have volunteered with the South Willamette Valley Honor Flight, which provides a no-cost trip to veterans to our nation's capital to help honor them for their service. Many of our veterans don't get that experience. Vietnam veterans were never given the welcome home that they deserved, and that trip can be very healing for them. I'm also a court-appointed special advocate in Lane County, where I work with kids who have been victims of abuse or neglect and help them as they navigate the child welfare system. And I've seen firsthand how many issues our child welfare system has. Our DHS agency is not operating here in the state like it should. And that's definitely something I would like to focus on as well. My priorities, I think, are what are top of mind for all of you. They're really pretty simple. We've got to develop some real solutions to our cost of living problem. The reality is Oregon is the 7th most regulated state in the nation. We rank 39th for business friendliness in the nation. That's unacceptable. We have our corporate activities tax is killing businesses. It's a hidden sales tax that is getting passed on to consumers every day. We have a clean fuels program that is unique to Oregon, which is another part of the extreme environmental agenda that we see coming out of Salem all the time. And that adds 22 to 23 cents per gallon that all of us are paying every single day at the pump. I will do whatever is in my power in Salem. Again, we're in the super minority, but we need strong voices who are willing to stand up and say that's enough. So that is cost of living. Secondly, public safety. We say a lot, I hear elected officials say a lot, budgets need to reflect priorities, and that's true. The reality is public safety has not been made a priority in Salem. We spend double on healthcare for non-citizens than we do on our Oregon State Police. That's a fact, and that's wrong. That should be a priority. In addition, we've passed reckless laws like Senate Bill 48, our catch and release law that allows violent criminals back onto our streets before they even have a trial. I'm grateful that Representative Kevin Mannix is working to put a ballot measure on the ballot that all of us can sign to help get that on the ballot in November, to help do something about that, because time and again, House Republicans in the legislature have brought bills to try to repeal that, and the Democrats are unwilling to have that conversation. And then lastly, education. We rank 50th in the nation for 4th grade reading scores.
Wow.
When our kids can't read, that does not set them up for success. I don't want to be doom and gloom, but what does our legislature do about that? 50th in the nation. Well, this last long session, let me tell you, we passed mandated climate change curriculum in our K through 12 classrooms. Mandated that. And this session, we're now requiring all of our school boards, even in conservative communities, to develop policies as to how they have to respond to ICE if there's ICE activities on school grounds. We're not dealing with academics. This is what they're choosing to focus on. We need to focus on reading, writing, math, basic education fundamentals. And education is not a one-size-fits-all thing. We have to empower our parents to do what's best for their kids. Private school, charter schools, home schools, we need to allow parents to have the ability to make that choice for their kids. And lastly, I'll just leave all of you with this. I believe that my core values are your Republican values. I live my Republican values out every day. I believe in the sanctity of life. I'm endorsed by Oregon Right to Life. I'm not ashamed to say that. I am a proud supporter of the Second Amendment. I have my concealed carry license. I have grown up hunting and fishing with my dad my entire life. I've grown up, I would say, with a healthy fear of guns. When you grow up hunting, you learn gun safety from a young age, and you learn that they are tools, but they're not something to be afraid of when you know how to operate them and how to deal with them safely. And I was a free sport varsity athlete in high school, played a year of college softball, and I do not believe men should be in women's sports.
Woo.
I believe we have to protect
yeah.
sports and women's spaces. I'm grateful that we have a president who is acknowledging that truth and is making that a core platform. And I am proud to be running in this race with Representative Boomer Wright's endorsement. I'm also proud to have the endorsement of Associated Oregon Loggers, proud Loggers daughter, like I said, and Oregon Farm Bureau and the Young Republicans of Oregon. And I'm hoping to bring some young energy into this party and represent your conservative values very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have any questions?
Moderate diploma. When somebody gets to a certain age, after 6th grade, they are told, or basically, they're not, like you said, they're not getting those academics like they should. So after sixth grade, kids are kind of put into a area where up until 10th grade, they're gonna basically be singled out and get a modified diploma. This modified diploma. This diploma, all it does is get them up so they can graduate. Even most of the military does not honor it. How could you do something about that?
Well, one of the things I know that we've seen in the legislature is lowering or taking away our standards for what it means to graduate. We've removed the standards required to graduate. And then now one of Governor Kotek's most recent social media posts, she touted, look how many kids are graduating. We're graduating at rates we've never seen before. I think that is a false premise. We shouldn't celebrate our graduation rates going up when we've taken away the requirements to graduate. That doesn't set kids up for success in the real world. One of the examples I just used, I coached my niece's 7th grade volleyball team this last season. And one of the girls on the team came to me and she said, I really like you. I really like the team. I like playing, but there's a lot of days I don't want to come to practice. And I said, well, I think I would encourage you to power through because there's a lot of days that I don't want to go to work, but I still go. And that's life. And so I think kids really need that healthy push. We need to set the bar high for them so that they can go on to strive in the real world. So absolutely, I would love to be a champion for making our high school diploma mean something again.
Yes.
Two questions.
Yeah.
First, what kind of cows do you have? And then second, what are you gonna do about higher education?
Simmental and Angus.
Okay, that's good. Okay, wait, let me write that down.
Perfect. What was the second question?
What are you gonna do about higher education?
Higher education.
College.
Yeah. Well, I believe you were a speaker at the recent Coos Bay Economic Forum.
I was.
Yeah. I saw some great things there with our local workforce partnership boards. One of the things Leader Elmer recently, House Republican Leader Lucetta Elmer introduced was HR 1, or the One Big Beautiful Bill. They actually expanded workforce Pell Grants to now cover programs that are 8 to 15 weeks long, which here in Oregon, that's like your meat science program. I found one that was within that time frame. Phlebotomist programs, tools just like that. But that's something that Oregon has to opt into, this change that we've seen at the federal level. That bill never got a hearing. I'm hopeful that we see that go somewhere, but I'm a big proponent of trades. My husband is in the electrical field and did an apprenticeship. And so however we can help support apprenticeships, expanding workforce Pell Grants, getting those federal benefits that we just saw, I would love to bring that legislation forward, and I wish it would have received a hearing, and I'm hopeful that we'll keep bringing that back, and hopefully we can reap those benefits.
Thank
you. Sorry, I know that's really quick, only 2 questions, but we're gonna run out of time if we don't keep moving. Troy, you're up. Troy is also running for District 9 statewide.
Thank you. Good evening. Hi, everyone. What a great turnout. Glad you guys are all here. My name's Troy Cribbons. I was born in Mass Hospital in Little Point. My parents moved to Eugene and then Portland, and that's sort of where I was raised. But my family homesteaded in the Bridge area, and my grandfather was an independent log truck driver. And my wife's family homesteaded in Deadwood, Triangle Lake, that area, and they had timber and ranching up there too. Coastal rural Oregon is in our blood. We came back to this area to raise our kids. I'm going to bring you out again because I can identify. I've been a Republican since I was 18 too. The day I turned 18, we couldn't get on the internet then. I had to actually go down and fill out the paperwork. And I voted in that very first election. And I've been a Republican my whole life. And it is synonymous with my core values of small government, lower taxes, individualism, and free markets. And I feel like that's part of what makes America great, is when we have the freedom without the oppression of an ever-expanding government, then we can use our own wits and our talent and our drive to, as Claire said, when you don't feel like going to work, you get up and you go and you push a little bit harder to achieve whatever it is your dreams are. And that's not a one-size-fits-all. And so, that's why I'm a Republican, and that's why I've always been one. Before I went to college, I was a framer, built houses with my dad. And then I worked in an ironworking shop, welded, and we worked on at Finati Equipment in Portland. We tore down NBI Utani equipments, and then there was a manufacturer's name was Jewel, and he made logging booms and the skirting around it. So we put all those together. I worked on the hydraulics and went out on the service calls. And for anyone in this industry, that's where I learned my hate for hydraulic oil, because when it gets on you, it's like there. It doesn't come out. And then, I worked railroad right-of-way spraying for a while, and then timber foresting, fertilizing for a while, where we drive a big truck up on the back of a landing, and then you'd fill this big hopper, and then a helicopter would come in, you dump that into his bag, and he'd go out and fertilize the trees. A lot of good work. I worked with a lot of good men, hardworking men. And there was a point for me, though, I wanted something different. I wanted to do something different. And I asked my wife, I said, I'd like to go to school. And she said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I don't know, but I want to do something. So she said, all right, let's do it. And I started off, I took some classes at SWAC. I got my AA at Umpqua Community College. I got my bachelor's in science and physiology at University of Oregon, and then my doctorate in physical therapy at Eastern Washington. After that, we moved back here to raise the kids. We have 3 children. All 3 of them went to Coos County schools, 2 North Bend, 1 Coos Bay. All 3 of them went off to go to college. We talked about education a little bit. My focus for why I'm running is economic development, access to healthcare, education, and all of those things, I think, are being inhibited by our government's ever expanding role in the things that they were never intended to do. And I think there's money there in the budgets. When you see the number of the budgets, the problem is it's all going to all these social programs and all these things that we're not supposed to be focusing on. So then we don't have money for education. We don't have money for infrastructure. We don't have money for our healthcare systems. All of those are being limited primarily by the lack of economic development, which is being tamped down by government or state regulation. Federal too, but at the state level, I don't have the authority to control that. I want to work on what I can work on what the state has. I have 30 years in healthcare. 15 of that is either owning my own business, I've made a payroll, or running a business. My payroll is, not that it matters, but it's $1.4 million is what my payroll is. I have to pay attention to my margins. So when they add different fees and costs onto me, that makes it difficult for me to make sure that I can keep my staff employed and taking care of our patients, which is our primary goal. That needs to change. I don't want it all to be doom and gloom either, though. We live in one of the most beautiful areas in the state, and all of us in here are here because we want to be here. And we want to be able to access, we are the stewards of this land. We know how to access our timberlands, our fisheries. Last Friday, the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife had a meeting to enact rules to negatively affect the crabbing. I'm not an expert in the fishing industry, but from the industry people I spoke to, if that would have gone through, it would have knocked out 1/3 of our fisheries. We saw when they came for our timber industry, what effect that has had, a lasting effect on our community that's left us with, entrenched poverty, lack of options. We talk about our education. Claire made some great points, and I agree with everything she said. Our schools, our local schools, our retention is, our math and reading scores are in the 40th percentile. That's not acceptable. And to counter that, and I don't know what Riverview's numbers are, I don't have that, but I know the other charter school in town, their numbers are 85 to 95% in their reading and writing scores. And it just shows that when you're there and you have parents engaged and the focus of the school is on education, the results that you can get. Our public schools are also impaired by the fact that we have such high levels of poverty in our area. Over 70% of the kids that attend our public school are either at poverty level or below. That's not acceptable. We have a community of really bright, hardworking people. We just need the state government to step off our throat so that we can grow and develop our community the way we want to see it, which is good for us. And I don't know if our kids are going to come back, but I want them to have the option. I want them to go off and get educated. If they want to come back and be here, then I want them to be able to do that. And we're not getting that. I want to go to Salem to start pushing back and start working. Actually, again, I'm going to agree with you, Claire. I'm going to steal your stuff. Is we are in the super minority. So we're not going to flip it over 180 degrees. But we got to be there. We got to be strong voices. We got to keep pushing to just take a little bit. Or as she said, we got to, if it comes down, there's a bad bill, we got to make it less bad. And it's frustrating. There's a current bill that just passed, 4145. That's the gun bill that's attached to Measure 114. I testified against it. Many people testified against it. It's still passed, right? And it's passed, and it's affecting a measure that's still in the court. So all this time in short session, which I'm probably rambling, so give me the hook anytime, but I could talk about this stuff all day. You know, it's short session, which was never meant to be a place to put in bills. Short session was supposed to be where you would just fix anything that was messed up, reconcile the budget, and then be done. This year, there were 240 bills in there. We don't need more bills. We need less bills. We need less stuff. And 4145 to me is a perfect example of that. You push through a bill attached to a measure that's not even in effect because it's tied up in the court. That is a huge waste of everybody's time, effort, and money to deal with that, only to take what is our constitutional right and make it more difficult for us to own firearms. And I was against every principle in that. If you want to have a 400 magazine gun, that's your right. You do what you want to do. And I also disagree with the premise that that stops the problem. And there is a problem. At some point, we do have to stop killing each other. But it's not legal gun owners causing that issue, right? It just puts a burden on us who get up every day, go to work, raise our family, hunt, fish, target practice, whatever it is you want to do. So those are things that we need to work on and keep pushing back to get that to stop. 1599 is another one. I listened to I think there were 3 Republicans on that committee passionately testify to the 250,000 people that signed that petition to repeal that gas tax or put it on the ballot in November. Right. They spoke through the whole commission about that's what the voters wanted. It's written. And the other side pushed it through anyway, and that passed. So that's been moved up to May. Now, to not be negative, what I want to say is we have the power. It's in our hands. It's registering to vote. It's getting out to vote. It's raising money for Republican candidates so they can do that. And I'll be honest, that's the worst part of money for me is to ask people for money. I understand it's a means to an end, to get those voices there. So that's my spiel. You got 2 minutes. Okay, questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just have it's a simple question, but it's kind of like the elephant in the room because a lot of us here really have been all in this Republican effort for a lot of years. Melissa Cribbons, I assume, is your wife.
That's my better half.
Okay. This is I say it's the elephant in the room because the only thing I can think about, how can you tell us how you are going to be different than her because she did against everything that we fought very hard to get Rod Taylor. He ran against Melissa for the last commissioner, and he beat her by just a little bit. But she represented things that were opposite to our values.
Oh, Ron, they fell in love and got married, you know?
So it's a,
Ron,
it's
that's a long
block
answer
in
short.
my mind. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. We
It's
did
a-
fall in love, we got married. And I don't know if you're married, but
I
anyone
am.
who's married in this room knows that you do not think exactly like your wife. Our differences make for a very spicy marriage, right?
Okay.
But I will tell you what she does care about is this community, this rural Oregon, and the fact that we don't have a voice in Salem or even Washington DC. That part is a fact. How we get to that, we differ on, right? I feel like government has a very minimal role in what we do. And the money that we do give to our government should go to education, public safety, and infrastructure. And if we go bigger federal, you know, a strong defense, those sort of things. From a state level, if they just focused on education, infrastructure, public safety, they'd have tons of money to take care of all the things we need to do. And I sit on the Coos Bay City Council, and when people come in and say, how come you're not fixing those roads? It's because we don't have any money, because it's all being drafted or shifted to other things that aren't what I believe is the government's purview. Yes.
Sorry about the third rail question here, but vote by mail. There's some people that like it, some people that think it is a recipe for disenfranchisement and failure. But if we give you a voice, how will you be able to use that voice to at least address that subject?
So one, I will say the Oregon's motor voter was a huge disaster.
Okay.
Right? It's a complete disaster. If you want to register to vote, get out, go do it, register to vote.
Yeah.
I think if we want to solve that problem, we need to stop having 42. If we have 42% of the state as Republican voters, and we're only getting 27% turnout, we're the problem. We got to get out and go vote. If you want to change it, go vote.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned that education is a problem, you have a running business. So what have you done locally for the educational problem in this community since you've been here?
Yeah, I don't know that I've done anything directly. I focus my care on healthcare and in trying to do public service at the city council. When my kids were in school, we focused on education. I cared about their grades. I was very frustrated when they were in school. It was very cliche for just show up and get a trophy. Claire mentioned it. Our graduation requirements mean something. You have to be able to, as a state, we've set the bar at the lowest common denominator because we don't want anyone to fail. And we're really hurting all those kids in the middle. There's probably 10% that are going to be successful regardless. Probably 10% that aren't going to be successful regardless. That 80%, we need to ask them to push. We want them to push, just like your own kids. Strive a little harder. Not everyone's going to make it, but you want them to try. So, you know, we have to make education important and mean something. It has to have values. Thank you.
All right, you guys got to work with me a little bit. We're going to do just 2 questions. Don't ask a third, please. You're good. Claire, did you want to take a third question just to be fair?
Yes.
Okay, so are you aware of current bill IP 28, the anti-farming fishing bill? Okay, so right now it's going to criminalize injuring and killing animals for farming, fishing, hunting, trapping, breeding, slaughter, wildlife management. It's even going to stop the state rodeo.
This goes on.
Yeah. I'm a farmer. I've been hunting, I've been fishing literally my entire life since before I could walk. My grandparents helped me fish. If someone like me wants to continue living here, I'm gonna live like I live. I'm gonna breed my pigs. I'm gonna butcher my pigs. I'm gonna sell my eggs. I'm gonna hatch my eggs in an incubator. I don't care what kind of law they pass. What would you be willing to do to help people like me that aren't gonna stand for such an invasive, overpowering law?
definitely aware of IP28. I spoke at the Oregon Logging Conference last week, and this is one of the things I brought up, that we all have to engage on this. And it's not even just taking the life of an animal before the end of its natural life. I think that's the broad language. I mean, that includes pest control. You're not going to be able to allow pest control to come into your home. How crazy is that? That is what is at stake here. And my own personal experience, I was heading into a store and somebody stopped me with a clipboard and said, "Will you sign here today to end animal cruelty?"
Oh, wow.
That is how these
Right.
signature gatherers, I'm not kidding you, are framing this. The average person, none of us want animal cruelty. I grew up hunting and fishing. Animal cruelty is that in my brain, those don't even correlate. This is it's looking like they're gonna get enough signatures to get it on the November ballot. Their Oregon Farm Bureau is working with all of the major business coalitions in the state to do massive voter outreach, voter education, because I think if Oregon voters know what this actually is, they're not going to accept this. But that involves, unfortunately, in a gubernatorial election year where we want all of our donors turning out to get a Republican governor, that means we're also going to be having to spend money to fight IP28, which is devastating. It's unfortunate, but I do think this coalition is well organized. I'm happy to share their materials with any of you. They're going to start cranking it out here soon, but I do think that's going to be a good effort to try to fight this. But I'm adamantly opposed. I think it's crazy. There's also another measure coming up in May on the Lane County ballot, which has District 9. It's Western Lane County, so rural Elmira, Bonita, into Florence, which is my hometown, Reedsport, so part of Douglas County, and it goes to about Scottsburg, and then Coos Bay, North Bend, and Charleston here in Coos County. There's something in Lane County coming up on the primary ballot called the Lane County Watershed Bill of Rights, which essentially gives inalienable rights to watersheds and ecosystems.
Oh.
I'm not kidding. I mean, I called this, when I spoke at the Oregon Logging Conference, an environmental lawyer's dream, because this is just lawsuit heaven. I mean, any farming, agriculture, logging, what a nightmare. So there's also business organizations lined up to fight this on the May ballot, but this is coming up in Lane County in May. And then we've got IP28 for all of us to face in November. So aware of those, following them, oppose both of them, and will help however I can to raise awareness and oppose them.
Thank you.
So this is exciting because there's so much to talk about, but we're trying to crunch it into 2 hours. There is a governor's debate on March 14th. It's a Saturday. It will be at the Marshfield Auditorium, Marshfield High School Auditorium, and at 5 p.m., so right before the main governor's debate, we're gonna have a forum just like this one. So there'll be more opportunities to engage with these candidates. We'll probably also have an event in April where we invite people back to do something like this. Maybe we'll make it 3 hours. Also with that hunting animal cruelty thing, if it does pass, don't despair. I will organize hunting parties. They can't arrest us all. So again, just 2 questions, please.
Good evening. I'm Richard Coleman. You can call me Rick, for anything but Dick. Anyway, I'm a longtime Coos County resident. I was raised here, except for about 6 years of my childhood. My dad was transferred out of the area, and then he had a chance to move back. He worked for a Bohemia Lumber Company pretty much his whole adult life, and then when they were no longer in business, he worked out here at Southport. So I've been around for quite a while, raised on timber dollars. I'm currently a diesel mechanic out here at Johnson Rock. I've been running their shop now for about 13, 14 years, somewhere along there. I'm a Army veteran. I spent about 7 years in the Army. And The reason I'm running, I just decided I need to get involved. I'm standing on the sidelines, waiting for change that I would like to see. So one of my main focuses is public safety. I believe public safety should be the first thing funded from the county and the last thing to cut.
Amen.
One of my other things down there at the county is we need to get the budget balanced. Running on a deficit, if I run my checkbook on a deficit, I'm gonna be in trouble. Okay, so government that does that, it's not right. Live within your means. That's what we all try to do. Government should be the same thing. And probably the third thing I'd like to see something done with, and we'll have to start some conversations with the two cities here, or the main two cities here, but all of them. And something be done with this homeless problem we have.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know how to accomplish that yet. We have to have some conversations and see what's really gonna work. I don't necessarily believe all the state mandates regarding homelessness are doing much good for these people. So that's my main focuses at this point. Any questions? Sure.
Thank you for running. And so pertaining to the homeless situation, we have heard rumors that they ship or bus homeless to the coast from the big cities. Are you aware of that at all, or do you have any information about that? And is there a way we could, if that is happening, put a stop to it?
I have heard the same rumors, and I'm not going to doubt that some of that is happening. Do I have concrete evidence? Have I witnessed it myself? No, I haven't, but rumors start somewhere, and I believe it is happening. I have no problem with fighting that however we can. I mean, short of, about the best way we can do it is, we know they're coming in here and they've been shipped down by some bigger city, let's ship them right back. I mean, sad thing is we can't forcibly put them on a bus or something to get them out of here. But I believe we need to try to help these people the best we can. Some of them, it's a lifestyle. They don't want your help. I don't know what we can do with those. The ones that do need some help and are willing to ask for it, we'll try to help them the best we can. But we've got to do something. Conversations have to be started. The cities have to get more involved. I do think we need to probably push back on the state with some of their mandates regarding homeless. We got to start somewhere.
What's your take on the possible proposed housing over the east side? Do you know about that?
Yeah, I've heard about that. I don't think that's a good thing. It's not in the best area. The infrastructure is a big one for the increased traffic and everything out that way. I don't see the roads holding up. I mean, the bridge out there is in no shape for that. So I think it's not a good idea to be considered at this point.
What was the question?
About the new housing they're proposing for out the east side.
You're good.
You said two
Still
questions.
got 5 minutes. You're good on time management.
That's what. Rick, hold the mic closer. There you go.
Okay.
Everybody says they hunt, they fish. You got any ideas for opening up the county roads? They're all shut down. I grew up going out there. I can't go out there. All I do is walk in and it's miles.
Right, I understand what you're saying, and Yeah, I would love to see that open back up myself.
So would everybody else, but
You know.
nobody's doing anything about it.
No, you're right. And I don't know exactly how to go about that, sitting on this side of things. Part of the reason those were closed down, I do believe, is the trash and everything that gets dumped out there. There's a lot of it.
There's a lot of volunteers that would go clean that up.
And I think we have a lot of volunteers that would come to and do a lot of things in this county if the county would just access that.
Absolutely.
And I don't see that happening. So that's something else I would be more than open to.
Keep going, take a question. Go for it.
Well,
Exactly.
Property taxes. I work with the guy, he just built a new house, he's over $700 a month in property taxes. If I want to build a new house, like I'm looking at something comparable to his, that's more than my mortgage is a month. I'm not paying that for property taxes. I'm not doing that.
700 a month
Yeah.
for property tax?
That's standard for a new house.
For new house, new nice
Oh,
Per
house.
month?
He's paying.
You're
yeah,
looking at
he's-
$5,000, $6,000,
He's $7,000 a year.
Is that in the city or in the
He's
county?
in the county. He's out of the Garden Valley. Which, you think Garden Valley, oh, that's a nice place, it's not that nice.
No, that's,
Okay, then.
Yeah, see,
wow.
like it
That's,
happens.
I mean, I had no idea anybody's paying that much here outside of city limits.
Yeah,
I know what I pay where I live, and it's nowhere close to that.
Can I ask a question? Sorry, I'm gonna cheat. I'd like to know what you've been doing to help get conservatives elected. What have you been doing the past year or so to get this wave going?
Well, I got involved with this group, the Friends of Coos County Republicans. I have tried to, well, I've signed up to be a PCP for the Republican Party. Gonna have to wait till May for that to happen, apparently, but that's okay. I'll get there one way or another. Anyway, getting involved. I've been helping out with some of the events Chris had the pictures of. I just took it on myself to get more involved. I've been involved in my own community. We've got a Hauser Citizens Patrol. I live up in the North County, and we help the sheriff out. We're eyes and ears for the sheriff's department. That's probably some of the first volunteer stuff I started doing and learned the importance of volunteering in your community. So that's why I say, to answer your question about getting some volunteers, there's nothing wrong with that. And I really believe our county should be looking more to volunteers. If they have shortfalls in funding for things, you can get volunteers to help out and save a bunch of money.
Yeah, I'd like to get back to what they were asking on the east side of the housing over there. The bridge, I'd like to go to the bridge because we have been working, well, talking with ODOT, the guy that's in charge of this, trying to get this. What kind of condition it's in. I think it's almost 100 years old, falling apart. And so they finally went out there and did some kind of survey or whatever. We cannot get access to those records. They will not let us have the records.
Really?
What can we do or you do to make some kind of transparency where we can see what is the issue or what's the problem?
That's a tough one. I'm not sure the exact avenues for that, but if I get in office, I'll look right into that. I know that bridge is in sad shape. As are a lot of the things. You know, our infrastructure's in bad shape. Yes.
The line going to work, the traffic.
We've worked out that way ourselves. We haul our equipment across that bridge. You know, I have a little understanding there. I do everything I can to get those reports, get them published. They should be.
I'm just aware that there's a real shortfall for our DA program right now. They don't even have enough money to try a murder case here. So what would you recommend at this point to help solve that problem other than asking private individuals to fund our for trying someone that has murdered someone in our community. That is like totally unheard of. I've never heard of that ever happening in our community.
Well, that goes right back to, for me, the public safety. The DA's office should be included with that. I mean, that's how we get these criminals off the streets. Jail funding, sheriff's department, and the DA's office.
Yes.
All of these things should be funded before anything else down there at the county. And I don't care where we have to cut it from to get their funding. That should be our county's top priority, is the safety of the citizens in the county.
Yep. Yay.
Good job.
Thank you, Ray. That's the worst part of my job, is having to be the weirdo that stands up and slow walks towards you. Sorry about that. Chris Ensley is a late entry to the race, so I didn't get a bio. I apologize, but he's going to file for commissioner. Yes.
Unfortunately, I can't see what that was.
There you go.
How's it going, everybody? Good evening. Yeah, thanks for fitting me in. I know it's not a last minute thing, so good evening. My name is Christopher Ensley. I'm a Christian conservative here in Coos County. I'll be running for county commissioner seat here in November. Forgive me, I'm not a very good speaker out here in the public and everything, but I was just in the car with 3 girls, teenagers, awful. Yeah, thank you. Anyway, so like I was saying, I still need to get the 200 signatures I haven't put in yet, but I'm going to get the 200 signatures. I don't want to give the state any more money than I've already given them. They already use it for weird things anyway. So most people here don't know me, so I'll give a little bit of my background. Third generation Coast Guardsman, aviation Coast Guardsman. My grandfather, my father, and myself all joined the Coast Guard. We're all in aviation. It was awesome. Proud part of my life. I was born in March 1986. So I'll be 40 here in the next few days, which is weird for me. Moving out of the 30s. I was born in East City. 6 months after I was born, my father transferred to Kodiak, Alaska at the air station there. Little I know how much Alaska really has played a part in my life, and I'll get to more of that here in a little bit. Shortly after I was born, we moved to Kodiak, Alaska, there at the air station. We were there for about 5 years. We moved to Logan, Alabama, of all places. Yeah, the air station, so a little bit different. I got a funny story about my first day in kindergarten, and talking afterwards, not appropriate up here. My mom was mortified. Shortly after that, we moved to California. My dad was stationed there in Sacramento on C-130s there. After that, we moved back to Kodiak, Alaska. So this is my dad's third tour there, my second time there as a child. It was awesome. Got to grow up there. Kind of leading into that, I'll give this to kind of work into my work history a little bit, because pretty much 20 years in the Coast Guard. So, but I was a paper boy at 11, 7th grade. I didn't pay my taxes, I don't think. Bought some candy with it. But anyways, after that, my freshman year, I think, going into my sophomore year, I did commercial fishing and seining up there in Kodiak. That on the backside of Kodiak Island, Port Lyons, Alaska. That was a lot of fun. It's salmon fishing, essentially, for people that might not know. So it was pretty fun at 15. I had to beg my mother to let me do it, but thank God she did. God rest her soul. And then after that, the following year, I did set netting. My parents had left. They went down to East City, and I stayed behind to fish so I could buy my first car. My parents weren't going to buy my first car. My dad was a hard ass, so it wasn't happening. So the actually cool thing is I got to buy from my father, my grandfather's truck he bought brand new in 1971. So actually it's sitting in my garage. I got to get it running. So another thing I'm busy with. So good grief. After that, he transferred back down to East City, where I graduated high school, and then that kind of started where my Coast Guard career started off. Joined in 2004. I wanted to serve, and I had a friend of mine whose father was a rescue swimmer, and that's kind of the job that I wanted to do. So I joined up in 2004. I was on the boat for about 2 years doing migrant interdiction, drug interdiction, stuff like that. And that really opened your eyes. 18 years old, it's pretty wild to see some of the stuff that we saw down there. But that wasn't the most fun, obviously not. So in 2006, I went to the AMR program in Clearwater, Florida. Essentially, the AMR program it's pretty much preschool, get you ready for swimmer school. So I was there for 4.5 months. After that, I went to swimmer school, graduated in 2007. And my first air station was actually here in North Bend. So I got a little bit of service time here. I've flown all over the state. I've flown, Newport, spent studied in Newport, studied obviously here in North Bend, had quite a few good cases. Shortly after that, we moved down to, actually I met my wife in 2008, actually at Walt's Courthouse, which is kind of funny, So then I took her on a journey she didn't realize she was going on. So, but shortly after that, we left in 2011 down to Clearwater, Florida, where we, again, drug interdiction stuff. I did, mainly SAR for my job, but and then after that, we went up to Kodiak, back up to Kodiak, so I got to go back to my childhood home, and it was fun. I had a good time. It was some of the best flying, some of the most beautiful flying I've ever done, and some of the most extreme search and rescue cases, obviously, so it was a blast. Then after that, down in Traverse City, Michigan, where I did my 4 years, got myself ready to retire, surgeries, all that stuff. I'm going to get myself right. Body's pretty beat up, but and then so here we got back in May of 24. So we've been back, and we got at our house, and I've been working on it ever since. So I have friends and family that tell me that I'd look into this, and because they agree with my views and everything else. Sorry, let me catch up here real quick.
You have about 5 more minutes.
Okay.
And you can take questions if you.
Alrighty. So, I mean, the main reason I'm here is because I have family in this county. I mean, that's the biggest thing, young family, and the biggest thing that we can look after right now is our children. They're the future of this country. I mean, it's end of story. That's what it is. And I don't see it happen. And so that's why I'm doing this. I'm so busy. I got a roof to put on. I got siding to do. I got, just like everybody else does, But I just feel like I need to stand up and, and try and make a difference. That's the biggest thing I can do. I was thinking about the school board. I had stuff come up a while back, but, so that's why I'm here now. I've served in the community. My wife was actually, when I met her, she was a OB nurse there at the hospital. So, so she was there working there. So she served in this community as well. And if I can do some good, that's what I'm here for. I'm quick-witted, I think. I got a good head on my shoulders. I'm good under pressure. I'm shaking right now, but I never did this in helicopters. It's wild. I should be doing this for everybody else, but yeah. So I mean, if I can make a difference, for the good, that's what I'm here for. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have. And any questions? Sorry, I'm just not good at this stuff right now.
You're good. You got about 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah. Any questions for me? I mean, I've been in the community again I was here for about 3.5 years before he left. And then I've been back for about 1 year and 3 months now. And I've just been busy. So I haven't really seen much of it, like what's going on. This way.
Tell me a little bit about what you want to change or what you want to see happen here in Coos County specifically.
I mean, it hasn't really changed much since I left in 2011. It looks more worn down. It looks more tired. I mean, my plan was, as I get closer to the election, is to watch the previous county commissioner meetings, stuff like that, just to see what the gripes are, because I don't know. I haven't been here. So that would be kind of my thought process of doing things. I heard something about a bridge that's, in part of town. Yeah, infrastructure in America is in shambles. I mean, everyone knows that, but trying to find the money to fix it and everything else, that's another thing. Where's all of our money going? I mean, that's another thing that can be looked into. But yeah, I mean, yeah, just the schools right now too. I mean, I'm sure they're I've looked at the stats last time and they weren't good. So schools are important to me just because, again, they're the future of our children. And yeah, infrastructure, police, fire, police, fire, and school, I think, is the things that need funded. But at the same time, the schools aren't doing too well right now. But yeah, I mean, I haven't been here long enough, and but again, I'm open to people coming up talking to me, and again, I'm going to go back and do some research and look and see what the issues are that people have. So, anybody else? Yes, sir.
First off, service, father, grandfather as well.
Yeah, sure. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
My question, I mean, I'm going to assume most of us don't know a whole lot about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Say you're relatively new.
Yep.
Is what have you done to integrate yourself in the community, especially for the position you're running for?
Mhm.
Like, have you joined any committees?
To be honest, no, I haven't really at church. I mean, I've been going to church. That's pretty much it. I'm not gonna lie to you, I've been so busy. I haven't really had time to really get into it. And this really wasn't on my radar until a couple months ago in all reality. So, I mean, I've been retired for a year and 3 months. You know, I'd like to keep doing that, but I feel like I can't. So that's why I'd rather work on my house, build cabinets. I'd like to do that, but I can't, you know, so. Yeah, so and then that's the plan, you know, well, I'm going to now, so I've made that commitment now. I mean, the State of the Union address really kind of solidified that for me. Seeing how certain people acted, you know, it's pretty disgusting in my view, but yeah, and that's, so again, that last night, that really, it's gave me goosebumps, you know, kind of, you know. Anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna reach out now that I've committed. I will be out there a whole heck of a lot more. Yes, ma'am.
You've stated that you go to church and you're a Christian man. Would
Yes,
you
ma'am.
reinstate prayer in the county commissioner's chamber if you had a vote there?
If I had another conservative, yes, ma'am, I would love to. Yeah, I think it should be a part of government. Founding fathers thought so too. So I definitely would. If we had the two like-minded commissioners, that's a problem too. So actually, one thing I do want to state too, I had the pleasure of being at the dinner the night before the TPUSA event. Shocking. I mean, it's not really shocking. It's a known thing. Conservatives, we're busy, we're working, we're doing our thing. 17,000 voted, I think, in the 2024 election, I believe, for Trump. And there's like 56,000 conservatives. You know, I mean, you can't bitch and moan about things if you don't get out and vote. So, I mean, and if I say I win and then we have two people that disagree with me, there's not much I can do, you know. So I mean, we need people to get out and vote for your values. You can't complain if you don't get out and vote. So yeah, sorry. Thank you.
Mr. Sweet, you're up. It's pretty cool that new people are entering the race. I know it's uncomfortable for some people to do this, and it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to see people stepping out of their circle. But you've been doing it for a while, so you'll be good.
And I haven't got over being uncomfortable up here. My name is John Sweet. I am currently one of the county commissioners. I grew up in Coos County. I was born in Bandon, graduated from Bandon High School, attended Oregon State twice, took 2 times to get out. First degree in forestry, then the military, and then back, got a degree in business. Came back home, worked in the wood products industry for a few years, and then got a job with Sauce Brothers, and I worked there for 38 years. And I was in charge of their marketing, and so we didn't have job titles, did lots of things, but marketing was the primary job I had. Been a county commissioner. This is my 14th year. Someone asked me, I was leaving church one Sunday morning, and a friend of mine said, "John, you ought to be a county commissioner." I said, "I think so." And but it kind of grew on me. And so I threw my hat in the ring, put out some yard signs, and came to meetings like this. And I was probably the most surprised person there was that I was elected. And actually, I kind of grew to like it. And I think I generally try to use the word we, because one person does not run the county by himself. It's a team. When I came here, we were on the list, a short list of the state of counties that were about to go bankrupt, about to fail. And within a year, we had them off of that list. we had tens of millions of dollars of debt and a similar number of unfunded liabilities. Today, we have neither debt nor any unfunded liabilities. When I came here, the county's tax rate, the rate that you pay to run the county, was $1.58. Today, it's $1.08. That's a 1/3 reduction in what you pay to have your county run. Now, there's a lot of taxes. I remind you, there's not a tax out there that a majority of the people hasn't paid for. So you have school taxes, you have city taxes, you have hospital taxes, you have airport taxes, you have all of that. But when it comes to the county, your county rate is 1/3 less than it was 14 years ago. It is also $1.08 per thousand. If you look around the state, the average county in the state has a tax rate of $3.52 per thousand. Ours is $1.08. And we cannot serve, we balance our budget every year. We do not do deficit funding. Yes, we have dipped into reserves, but that is not a good thing to do. I voted against it every time. But we had to cut staff to balance the budget. But we do balance the budget. We're not like a state that can borrow money. We're not like the federal government that can borrow it or print it. We have to do with what we make do with what we have. I think one of the biggest problems facing our government right now, and it's not just the county government, it's almost all local governments, is that, and thank heavens, we have measures 5 and 50, which limit the growth of property taxes. But we have costs that are driven up by inflation, and that the cost of doing business has risen faster than our revenues have risen. I don't have an answer for that, but it's an answer we're all going to have to come up with as members of the public, because it's going to make it very difficult to fund local businesses. You'll already see schools having to lay off teachers. You see other counties having to lay off teachers. We're just at the tip of the iceberg. Cities are having the same problem. So that's a problem we're all going to have to deal with. Again, I don't have an answer. The answer will come from all of us in this room. We can make some suggestions, but no one likes a tax, unless maybe it's someone else's tax. But we got so doggone many someone else's that we can never get them to agree to give us their money. So that is a problem, and that's a problem I think is going to take experience and leadership to solve. And so I want to run at least one more time, and I hope I can bring that experience to the county to help through this, what I consider to be the biggest problem I've encountered since I've been a commissioner. And with that, I'll open up the questions. Yes, sir.
Can you tell us why you voted to spend $200 to teach gender confused children how to drink?
I would disagree that we taught them how to drink, and I would disagree that they may be gender confused. I've been around quite a while, and I don't know that anyone or very few people would make the choice to be that different. Now, as far as why Coos Health and Wellness chose to pay $200 per punch. Unfortunately, they called it a mocktail or something like that. Punch with a swizzle stick in it. This is an underrepresented community, the gays.
How are they underrepresented?
Maybe that's the wrong word. They are a community that I would not want to live that life. I think they're outcasts. We don't, there's a prejudice against them. And I think for them to go to a normal prom where they're not wet, but where they're looked upon differently is why I think Coos Health and Homes is one place for them. Yes, ma'am.
You would have voted to have tampons in the boys' bathroom?
No, I would not have.
So what's the difference?
Of what? I would not have voted to have tampons in the boys' bathroom. I don't know what more I can say than that. Steve, you got a question?
John, thank you for being here. I did find it interesting. So you've been contributing to the county for a long time, and I've gotten a chance to know you over the last, half decade or so. And I appreciate your wisdom, your experience, the way I do believe you take a step back, look at things from as many angles as you see. I did find it interesting that you talked about running for, doing one more go around. So, this coming election. And you said, I don't have the answers to these complications in this position we're in right now. The community can come and give me the answers. You didn't say it exactly
I didn't say
like
it that way.
But I got the impression you were saying, I don't have the answers. Let's hear it from the community about what they can come up with.
No, that's not what I said at all. What I said is a complicated problem. It's going to be a difficult problem to deal with because no one wants taxes. So we're going to have someone who can explain to people why it is necessary to have a tax, number one, and what kind of tax is the best tax to have, number two. But in the end, people are going to want first to have to be able to adequately fund their government roles, whether it be education, cities, county. And number two, what kind of a tax do you want to pay? Is it more property tax? Is it a tax like a sales tax? Is it an income tax? Those are the choices you're going to have to make. Or we're going to have to live with a reduction in services. Now, grant you, there is waste in government, but I think our county is very, very tightly run. Yep. There's always something we can do better. There's always something we can do different. But we used to have over 500 employees some time ago, and today we have less than 350 and cutting. Yes, sir.
A few years ago, at the county commissioners meeting, Bob Lane said that the county was in over $3.1 million in debt. So you are now saying that debt is gone in that short period of time?
No, what he said, it was during budget season, I am sure. And he said that if we're going to balance our budget, we have to have $3.2 million less expenses or more money. And so we cut expenses. 85% of our expenses are personnel. So you can't get very far without impacting personnel. So that's what had to be done to balance the budget.
You did that while still giving pay raises to people at Coos County Health and Wellness. Because I was at that meeting also, and at the same time you mentioned that you guys were passing pay raises like it was money grown on trees.
Yes, there are pay raises, but there's also inflation. I mentioned that to you. And we're not in an island there all by ourselves. We have lots of competition. We have good people. We had good people in our sheriff's department. We would consistently lose them to a city or to the state. We have to be competitive. How am I doing on time?
One more.
One more?
Like a minute.
Yes, sir.
John, thank you. My question
is, along with employment, you already know I'm a professional employer by trade, is how do we justify cutting down to, I'll say, the state minimums of our county workforce and still trying to operate? I know as a taxpayer that I struggle with talking to various departments in the county, and I'm just not able to get anywhere, or it takes 6 monts. 6 months is an arbitrary number, but it's longer than expected.
It's a matter of funding, pure and simple. I mean, if you want to have immediate response to a question you have, if you want a road to be graded immediately, used to have 59 people in the road department. Today we have 29. That's all we can afford. And
I guess the question is more, how do you think we can change that?
We have to have enough revenue to meet revenues have to increase as our cost of doing business has increased. It's been particularly bad since the COVID inflation. And we were tracking on about a 3% increase in tax revenues every year and 3% increase in inflation every year. Then COVID came and we had inflation that was somewhere between 15 and 20%. So instead of going up gradually like that, the cost of doing business went up like that. Then it leveled off again. But we're still down here on this track. So we had this gap.
There was a question that came up about Coos Health and Wellness. And I hate this answer, but it's an answer. Coos Health and Wellness budget is separate from the general fund, and it's mainly derived from state tax dollars. So yes, sometimes at a commissioner meetings, or actually almost every commissioner meeting, you will see funding going towards Coos Health and Wellness, and then reductions made elsewhere, and it's because the state decides to fund that and decides not to fund all the other stuff that we all find very important, like the police and fire and all sorts of stuff. So I don't like that answer, but it's the answer. Randy, you're up. I'll give you a minute or two extra because John got an extra question.
Hey, everybody. Can we please hear a round of applause for the walkers?
Yeah.
You guys are great. And honestly, I wouldn't be here. There's a few people in the room back there, over here. There's probably a couple over there. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for these people, because I am an introvert and this is scary. So here I am. Where am I from? Coos County. I'm a third generation Coos County resident. I graduated high school in 2001 and I moved to Marine Corps Air Station Yuma. I was a government employee, not a Marine. I was a Marine Corps trainer. I was a physical trainer. So I got to yell at Marines and make them do push-ups for 4 years. It was amazing. So I got an associate's degree while I was down there, and one of my friends from the Marine Corps was moving back to Brooklyn, New York.
Can somebody make a comment? Let me know my live is still going.
So I went there. I did my first year in Brooklyn, and yes, I do amounted to a 1-year prison. I literally did a year. And if you guys don't know, Queens, New York is packed with parks, greenways, and I felt like I was finally in a little tiny slice of Oregon again. It was really nice. I lived there for about 7 years.
Thank
I got
you, Amy.
2 degrees. All 3 of my degrees are in psychology. My last big one is from Columbia University. I have a master's degree in organizational social psychology. And what did I do with it? I became a systems analyst. I worked for nonpartisan political organizations, interviewing political leaders, and working on open primaries. Conversation for a different day, but primary elections definitely interrupt our election experience, shall we say. And if you're interested in learning more about primary elections, I will be giving a talk at the Egyptian Theater on April 3rd, where we're going to explain exactly how primary elections work, so you guys know what to do and be able to vote in May for the person that you'd like to vote for. So 7 years, 8 years total in New York City, and I graduated, had finished up. I finished up my professional project and was deciding where to go. And at that point in time, my family was going through some stuff, and I kind of decided maybe I should just move back home, as one does. And rather than move all the way back to Coos County, I moved up to Washington for a year and a half and hated it. So I was dragging my feet a little bit coming back because I didn't have the best memories of Coos County. A little bit about my childhood, that 70% of the kids in school that are living in poverty, I was probably in the very bottom of that. I was born to a teen mom, an unwed teen mom, never knew my father. Then she married a man who went the Coos County way, addicted to methamphetamine and beat her. So I am one of those few people who actually broke the cycle. It's both amazing and terrifying to know that someone goes through that on a daily basis still now in Coos County. Unfortunately, since the 80s, when I grew up here, our poverty numbers haven't changed much. Our domestic violence and sexual assault numbers have in fact gotten worse. We've got some culture problems here in Coos County, aside from our money problems. That's the stuff I talk about that makes people super uncomfortable immediately. But it's real. Until we stop making excuses for predators in our community in positions of power over vulnerable people, we are going to continue to have children who experience the things that I did growing up. So moving back to Coos County, it was I had some trepidation, I had some bad memories. Coming back was nothing short of an incredible experience. It was really amazing. And I came back I moved all the way back down here in 2015. So it was during the first Trump election, and people were a little unhinged. So I came back from New York, I guess a little bit left-leaning, you could say. I have since learned that an East Coast liberal is a West Coast conservative. So when I moved back here, I brought some of my ideas with me. Some of the ideologies that I held on to quickly collapsed under COVID. I got to see what all those fancy ideas that we were taught in sociology class, I got to see them actually come to life. And it didn't go the way we were taught it would go in sociology class. So that was quite a wake-up call. I think it changed me forever, like many of us. COVID changed something in me. It was really the government's response. I saw draconian measures that I had only read about in books about the Chinese Cultural Revolution. And what I saw my neighbors doing to each other horrified me. During this time as well, I live out in Fairview. Are any of you familiar? Any of you from Fairview? Not my family, but yeah. So you guys know out there, we kind of did our own thing. But we had some crime pop up during COVID because all of the people that were living on those country roads, so all of the feral people that our Oregon government let out when they closed Shutter Creek and they closed our mental hospital beds down, a lot of those people scattered and they ended up in RVs on our remote logging roads. So what they do is they would go park out on these open roads and then they would come down into Fairview and rob people at night. Oh, it was wild there for a while. One of them in particular, and you guys can thank Gabe Fabrizio, who's part of the reason why I'm standing here today. If he had been able to put James Belt in jail, I probably would have just called it a day and went on hunting and fishing and doing my business. But here we are. We can't get a serial predator with $14,000 in fines to the state off the streets. We're hamstrung. We've got a state who is actively trying to bankrupt the counties, and that's not just me being hyperbolic. Most of our county commissioners throughout Oregon agree with me. So when we talk about, and again, we're gonna, at my April 3rd event, we're gonna talk about how money moves from the state to the county and back, because it is very complicated. And, sometimes I think it's complicated for a reason, so people turn around and they blame the commissioners. Why'd you spend $200 on mocktails? The county commissioners didn't. The county didn't. Our state did. Our state is really driving a lot of what you're seeing. The ideology stuff that we've all got really sick of, that's coming from government. It is embedded in our state offices, in the workplace. I grew up in a generation where you didn't talk about your sex life at work. To me, that's sexual harassment. So if you're wondering where this stuff is coming from, I have had almost a half a dozen, I think about 5 different state and county employees approach me under either anonymity or sworn to secrecy because they are terrified. And for me, fear is a symbol that something is wrong. That's for me. Why are you so, this, people are afraid of the state. The state should be afraid of the people. And so that's part of why I'm running is I really want to go after the state. I have got a bunch of tenacity. It drives people crazy because I have a bite and won't let go. So I thought, how can I best put it to use? Go after Salem. I've got a personal pet with Merkley. I won't get into it now, but these leaders need to go. And when I say these leaders, I'm not necessarily, I'm running against John Sweet. I'm not necessarily saying that he's the one that needs to go. Now, I'm asking you to vote for me because I do need to replace him. But for me to get anywhere further. So for us to get to the state, we have to start somewhere. So I've got to start somewhere. So to tell you a little bit about me professionally, I didn't write this, by the way. I think Chris did all of this. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I think I put it off your website. Maybe I wrote it. I don't know.
So a little bit about me professionally now, what I do for a living. I'm a life coach. I didn't even think that was a real job. It is, and it's amazing. To be more specific, I'm a habit change coach. So I take people from point A to point B. When people have a roadblock, they're like, gosh, I just can't lose weight. I really want a promotion. I want to change jobs. I want a completely different life, whatever it is. There's something holding them back. So over the course of typically 90 days, that's what I do is I guide people through a change that gets them where they want to be. That's kind of what I want to do to Coos County. I want to get us where we want to be through habit change. Because a lot of this is habits. When we talk about our failing healthcare systems, our hospital almost went bankrupt. Right. And those people, the people who have come together to save our hospital, if you get a chance to meet them, thank them. Their board of directors right now and their board of finance is amazing. What those people have done, if you haven't been watching their meetings, you should. They deserve a round of applause just on their own. But one of the things that's bankrupting our medical systems is Medicaid. This state run, did I get that right? Medicaid is a state run health, right? And Medicare is federal. Yes. So it's Medicaid that is, the reimbursement rates are super low. Unfortunately, with Medicaid also comes a very high rate of type 2 diabetes. It's literally bankrupting our system. And type 2 diabetes is something that we can control through our habits. And so coming in as commissioner, we don't have a ton of power to just say, hey, state, give us more money. But what we can do is we can change our habits to make us less dependent on the state. So a healthier population needs less government.
Yeah.
So by kind of implementing some culture change here in Coos County, which again, I think will probably freak people out because it's asking people to take a look at the way we live our lives and say, could we do it better? Could we be healthier? Could we take better care of ourselves and our neighbors? The answer is always going to be yes. But it does mean giving up some stuff that were maybe some not so great habits that we're attached to. I've recently given up wine and I've switched to an alcohol removed wine. I'm way more proud of myself than I should be, but I know. My body thanks me though. As a 43-year-old woman, I don't process alcohol very well anymore, and so it was not so much a choice as a necessity. But my body will thank me. And so when we think about moving Coos County forward, we've got to think about what can we do as individuals. As a commissioner, I'm one of 3 people that can make some decisions about how things are run, but those decisions are pretty limited in power and scope. And so what I'm going to be asking Coos County residents is what can we all do to contribute to a better, less dependent on the state county? I could go on and on. I don't want, how am I for time?
You got like 1 or 2 minutes left, so like one One question or two.
Okay, yeah. Questions, go ahead.
So, Brandy, thank you so much. And I'm looking at the tapestry of your bio, and I'm trying to piece it together. Are you self-employed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I thought. Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
That commends you.
Questions, go ahead.
Okay, so you said that, like, I hate to bring back up this whole drag prom thing, right? When you were on the Rob Taylor report, listen, and I'll criticize everybody. You mentioned they were a drag troupe, right? Or a dance troupe. And I agree, that's what ended up happening. I think it's because they got a lot of pressure. I think they would have been a lot more perverted had they not gotten all the national attention from like national Facebook groups and everything. You said it's all from the state level. John over there, he was cool with like and I agree, Rod probably wrote the whole thing wrong, so he didn't really have a choice. He had to vote against it or whatever. But in a situation like that, are you going to say, listen, we're not spending tax dollars on this. We can't have this, whether it's state or anything, we need to take our money off of it. We had Chris, we had Rob, we had a whole bunch of people in that meeting that were willing to pay that $200 just to take the state off of it. John, he didn't care. Would you care about something like that? Would you say, look, we're not doing it. We're not standing up for this. It's gross. It's gross.
Make me sick to my stomach. Because as a habit change coach, what mocktails are, if you're not in an alcohol environment, mocktails are juice. So when you say mocktail, you're insinuating an alcohol environment with alcohol cueing. That means it's a training program. Now, what would I have done differently? I would have showed up to the meeting better prepared. I would have read all of the research. What really upset me is that Coos Health and Wellness had research on adults. This event was for minor children. They did not have the research on children. The fact that they're looking to the Oregon Health Authority for advice, given the absolute failures in our state for healthcare, is, we should be taking our own responsibility. Organizations that they're giving money to make sure that they are public appropriate. It was a rough situation because of the way the motion was written. You cannot impose your personal morality on the public ethic.
Agreed.
Period.
Agreed.
And so when we as leaders are approaching these, we have to make sure that we're doing it within the bounds of our authority. It's probably going to come up again. I'm probably going to be in a really uncomfortable situation soon enough, and I'll be able to answer that question in real life if I win. So
Excellent. Thank you, Brandy.
Just be there, John, you want to go over another question? You want to go over? I just want to put everybody's in on time. It's up to you.
I'll take one question.
All right, one more question for John.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, pick me, pick me.
Don't pick me, bro.
You're like, okay. Ron.
Thank you, John. I heard you speaking months ago, years ago. You said that we in Coos County cannot look somewhere else to come and solve our problems.
I think.
Can you expand on that and explain what that means?
Well, yeah, we can. I'm not sure that we can be dependent upon the federal government for timber harvest or timber revenues, although I'm somewhat optimistic that we might be on the verge of getting some more timber revenues. We can't look for handouts from the state. They fund a few things, but you never can tell when they're going to quit funding. As soon as times get tough, they quit. So we have to become responsible for our own well-being. It's up to all of us to make sure that our schools are efficiently run, that our cities, our hospitals, our airports, our county is efficiently run. I know that there's government in general has a bad reputation for waste. I'll challenge you, anyone to come take a deep look at the county and find a lot of waste. But in the end, we're going to have to be responsible for our own destiny. If we want police protection, we have to be willing to pay for that. And I will tell you something, we get a share of gasoline taxes for the roads. It's a big department, they have lots of money, but by law, that money cannot be used for anything else but the roads. We get federal money, it's all federal money that comes to the state, then to us, for Medicare and Medicaid to fund Coos and health and wellness. If we don't accept that money, then we have a lot of people that can't afford medical care and they go without care. If we accept that money, it comes with strings attached. It's a difficult position to be in. Yes, there's lots of times when we just as soon not be doing something. But not doing that means losing that revenue flow, and doing that means that there'll be a lot of people we know in this county that will not have appropriate health care. So it's not an easy situation.
Thank you. All right, we're at our last candidate here. We have Steve Hammerson. He's running for commissioner in Douglas County, but this is the Friends of the Coos County Republicans, so we're going to work them in. We care about the counties around us, right? So, without further ado.
Man, I didn't think you were gonna have a copy and paste all my stuff. The first thing I was gonna say is, I'm glad Chris didn't know I was coming because he wouldn't do this to me. So you may ask why I'm in Douglas County. Is anybody from Douglas County here? I assume not a single person. One, all right, cool. So I do have to convince you. The reason I'm here is I'm asking for the Friends of Coos County Republicans endorsement. So I went to, I had a school board election in 2023. I was going up against a 22-year incumbent. So it was a rough race, but I got part of your campaign is crazy. You gotta get money for postage. You gotta get money for mailers, all the paperwork. You gotta get signs. We gotta do social media. I kind of feel bad for the older candidates these days because it's hard for me to figure out the social media stuff. But the one thing that I learned from my school board campaign is that I got 8 endorsements from organizations that ended up being shell organizations. They weren't even like real. They were like 1 or 2 people. And then with the bigger ones, I hate to say it, they're a bureaucracy. And they'll pick whoever they think is going to win. And that's kind of brutal too. But this round, so far I have 9 endorsements. I managed to convince Kevin Sterrett over at Oregon Firearms Federation to endorse me. Hilltop Patriots, the chief petitioner of the recall for Tina Kotek. But I'm asking the executive board for the Friends of Coos County Republicans if they will endorse me. And I don't necessarily need a Q&A from you guys. But if anybody from that executive committee is here, wants to ask me questions, I had to do, with Hilltop Patriots and another organization, I had to do, a Q&A with them. And basically, usually it was abortion, Second Amendment, all the stuff you guys know. But so I'll be here after. I don't want to take up too much of your guys'
Can I make a point of order?
Yeah.
In case anyone knows, it's a fancy committee term. Yeah, wow.
All right.
You are recognized.
Rob Taylor from Bandon. I like to be official. This gentleman is a good friend of mine, and he's done a lot of great work.
And he's his wife is the chief sponsors of the End Vote by Mail petition.
Nice. Nice.
You guys, you fuckers have been doing a lot of things. You've been fucking around, doing all kinds of horrible things. Look at this, 2,294 signatures that were.
Oh yeah. Woo!
That's power. We've been doing this since July. This is power. We were one of the people, one of the groups that was instrumental in putting that gas tax on the ballot. And we've got petitions that we've been getting signatures for since July.
Oh, yeah.
And this is one of them. And Steve, I want to present this to you. I wish your lovely wife was here. You have my full endorsement. I think you rock. And by the way, he was one of the Roseburg Six.
Oh, yeah. I remember them.
This man lost his position on the executive board because he dared to have Rob Taylor come to Roseburg
How
and
dare
tell
you.
his side of the story.
Shame, shame.
How dare you?
Shame, shame.
It sounds like you guys are dealing with the same thing out here. I was on X Spaces for about 6 months. It's happening all over the country.
Yeah.
I was on X Spaces in Georgia, in Montana, in Florida. There's this fracture in the Republican Party
Yes.
where there are people that are elected and in power, and then as soon as their power starts getting threatened, they dig their claws in and they rip you apart. So, I mean, really, it's if you stand by truth and you stand by principles and you can't be bought, if your price is your life and you're willing to stand for the Constitution, they'll try to make you out to be a monster. That's
Amen.
going to happen. So, and the more
Amen.
effective you are, the more of a monster you're going to become on social media, in the view of the public. I've had flyers go out saying, like threaten people and intimidated. Well, the funny thing is the commissioner that I'm running against, he is a straight up loan shark from the mafia. Like this guy shows up and he just starts leaning on people like he's a bully. But they'll always accuse you of what they're doing. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much what we've learned. But yeah, I don't want to take up any more time. I mean, if you want,
I just wanted to mention, I would make a motion that we do endorse him. You didn't say everything that this man has done with this. He traveled all over the state to make all the different fairs and everything to make sure that petition got put around. And I'm telling you, he put miles and miles on his truck.
it was only 8,000 miles and it's a Tacoma.
Yeah.
8,000,
It's a
yeah.
Tacoma, so
But
it's not cheap.
But the thing is, we've been under opposition of our own party on some of this. And we know that you can spend all the money and time in a campaign, but if you do not have fair elections, you might as well not even put the effort into it. So that is why he stands for something, and that's why, and I'm a proud of MAGA, and I'm sure you are too, and that's why we've been trying to be taken out by our own party. Thank you.
You said mega maga?
Mega, mega.
I second the motion.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wearing the same shirt.
You only got one.
You could have never known that.
So here's the funny thing, we're talking about power and struggling for power. Steve, we don't have an executive board.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry.
We've been able to do all that we're doing with just trust. Just trusting that a group of people can come together for the right reasons and do the right things. So I'll third that motion if that's okay. I mean, there's a bunch of candidates here in the room, so. Yeah. Whatever. All right, good.
Raise your hand for Steve, yes. Steve, yes. All right. Motion passed.
Ayes have it. Let's just give a round of applause for everybody. That was really cool.
So I have about a 20-minute presentation. I practiced, I promise. So if you guys want to stay around for that, that's cool. If you don't, I will not be offended. But again, I really appreciate all the candidates, some making it out from farther than others, and I really appreciate that. We will do this again. Again, the governor's candidate forum is March 14th. And in terms of endorsements, we haven't even really discussed it yet. It's still early. March 10th is the filing deadline.
So I actually have to turn it in before then.
I know. So we will get back to you very quickly. And one of the things here we're working on, I took a screenshot of me literally working on it because it's not done, but we're working on a candidate questionnaire, like you mentioned.
Oh, good.
We're gonna get that out to all the candidates, and then we're gonna compile it on the website so people can share it. People can see everyone's views side by side. It'll be really informational. But that is something that we could use, Steve, to like have a serious conversation. But I mean, you look like you got some support there, Steve, so that's good. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep going. We formed 3 committees at our last meeting in January. And those 3 committees were a candidate support committee, a fundraising committee, and an events committee. I see a bunch of people leaving. Candidates.
Don't take it personally.
No, I don't. I'm just gonna mention candidates. If you want to meet with the candidates in the vestibule, that would be awesome. If you guys want to make yourself available. The best thing you can do to support these candidates is to take a picture with them and post it on social media. If you liked what they had to say tonight, post it on social media, said, hey, I met so-and-so. I really liked what they had to say about blank, blank, and blank. It's free. And it will help support their campaign. It will get them out there to the people that need to hear their message.
Also share the live stream. It's been live streaming the whole
Stock's
time.
Family Farm on YouTube is live streaming this as well. So anyway, so just last month we formed these committees, and like the events committee, I think there's like 20 or 25 of you on there. That's pretty cool. And we've been meeting regularly, like holy cow. So I'll talk quickly about the candidate support committee. What we're doing is we're putting together this candidate questionnaire for the May primary. And then we're doing social media consultation, and we're being unbiased about it. Like all the candidates, anybody who wants help, we're here to help you. We want to get the message out, whether we agree with the ins and the outs of your message. If you're remotely conservative, we want to help you get your message out and do it effectively. The other thing is stuff like this, campaign events. If you want to join us at ours, or if you want to have your own, we can help you put those together. We can help put the word out. So. In terms of the fundraising committee, we raised $5,882 just from 3 events. Wow. Just from 3 events. They're pretty big, pretty cool events. We can't do that every time, but that was pretty cool. Those were the turning point events. And I brought up these pictures earlier, but like there were so many pictures, I couldn't even put them all on one slide, right? This is a picture from Monique's event. Did you guys know that coffee event, that little coffee event, raised her $2,000? That went directly to her campaign. Steve pitched in for some appetizers. I hope you got a refund for that. We can make sure Derry gets you a refund for that. But these events, they raise money. So far, by the way, we've been an actual PAC since the middle of October. It's only been 4 months. Since October, we've raised over $14,000. We brought in over $14,000. Our current balance is just over $8,000, and that's not including some floating cash for a gun raffle. So we're doing good. Okay, it's not $1 million, but it's better than like 200. So what can we do with that money? Well, we're gonna have to figure it out, especially because we don't have an executive board. But we're gonna talk about it. And I don't think we're gonna like blow it all on this next election. A lot of that is like to put some of these events together. You have to book venues and things like that. But this is a war chest that we're starting to grow. And again, this is just a couple months in. This is the graph I had earlier. Remember this graph? It's like the ugliest, scariest, most bullshit graph I've ever seen. This is why the Democrats are winning. There's a lot of other reasons, but like where were the Republicans in 2015, 2017? 2019, 2025. Where are they this year? I'm a Republican, so I have to take some responsibility for that. And that's why we're doing stuff like this. But here's the cool thing. I'm going to edit this graph a little. Ready? That yellow, that's us. That's the Friends of Coos County Republicans. I should have drawn lines here so you can see. But in just 2.5 months in 2025, we met the bar. The bar's pretty low, but we met it. And in 2 months, in less than 2 months, in 2026, we beat the bar. This was Terry Greer, by the way. Terry Greer, this was her year. Beyond that, beyond that outlier, we've more than doubled the bar.
She went to school board where we lowered the bar so we look better.
I think so. No. This is our bar. This is the Friends of Coos County bar. It's actually above, okay? I don't know if we'll meet it, but let's set it really high, right? Look at this. We're outpacing the Democrats for the first time in the past decade. That's you guys. That's every one of us that's been involved over the past couple months. I appreciate every single one of you. Yes, Vanessa.
Okay, so you were pointing out Terry Greer in 2018.
Yes.
She was the queen of getting the PCPs involved.
Yep.
And that's why it is so critical, first of all, to have precinct people to run our precincts in person voting. But it also is critical because all that momentum of having all of those PCPs out there networking with everyone, that's where you're gonna get your dollars.
Yep.
I remember that.
Also, I looked into some of these anomalies. There's also some anomalies for expenses, but I looked into them briefly and I can't get into it tonight because we'll be here till 10 o'clock. But like a couple of these like decent years, Vanessa, that was your dad. That was your dad donating like 80-90% of that money. So we really appreciate your family. We really do. And you've been a big part of this as well. So I appreciate that. Sorry to make that awkward, Vanessa. We love you. So that Vanessa and her family don't have to help out, we're gonna sell t-shirts, right? Okay, so there's Jeremy. Jeremy's gonna talk about t-shirts. He's our merch guy.
Oh, look at this. Oh, okay.
He's not drag, he's in his gender clothing.
My clothes are staying on, the rest of them.
Thank you.
So Chris made a nice little graphic here for us. What we want to do, well, what we already did was I made up some I'm a Poker t-shirts. We do have some left. If you would like to, these are going to be only $20. We have some Pokers in the crowd.
We got a whole lot of Pockers around here.
What we want to do, though, is we want to make some t-shirts that have a little bit more appeal than to just a small group of people that have nicknamed themselves the Fockers. So what we're working with is a local company that's going to be producing, hopefully, some t-shirts for us. They'll have just the elephant logo on the front of the shirt and a single color white American flag on the sleeve. And that's it. Nice clean shirt that anybody can wear. Kind of just, says that you're a Republican already. If you don't get that, then we're gonna do. We want to do our first run in black and red shirts, and you can see some of the Fokker examples over there. So what I would like to do and propose to the group on a whole is to purchase at least 100 shirts to start with. These shirts we will sell, and Chris got it wrong here. We're gonna actually be asking $30 per shirt. And what we have to impress upon people is that we're asking for a $30 donation, and we're gonna give you a shirt. So if we think of it that way, these shirts will first be available at the event on the 14th of next month.
Oh, good.
And so I'm hoping to sell out completely so that I can convince them to do it again. So I hope everybody buys a shirt. And
can we make one for moms and call them the mother? Never mind.
I do have some Hawker shirts left, and if you want one, and all I have is larges left. So if I don't have one in your size, you can get with me, and we can order some more of those as well. I also wanted to bring up, if anyone is interested in helping with fundraising ideas and stuff, you can get with Chris or myself, and we'll add you to that committee. More ideas are better. And I think that's all I had.
I did the adjusted math for $30 a shirt.
That was
And if we sell all 100, or sorry, if we give them all away for the $30 donation, it will be $1,600 roughly in revenue. So, pretty cool. And we'll keep doing that. If we sell them all, we'll reorder, obviously. The other thing we're doing is a gun raffle. This is Amy. Where'd she go? Oh, no! Anyways, Amy's doing a gun raffle. This one's pretty simple. You sell only 100 tickets at $20 a ticket. You buy a $500 gun, you get $1,500 in profit. And you wait until all the tickets are sold to pull the winner. So, I mean, a $500 gun for $20 is pretty cool. And $1,500 for our pack for really nothing is pretty cool too. So it works out. So that's another thing we're working on. Together, that would be about like $3,000 in revenue. I mean, it's still like not a lot. Like some of these campaigns, if you've ever looked at the finances, cost a lot of money. But we're working on it. We're like every little bit helps, and I appreciate people like Jeremy and Amy who just come forward with these ideas. So, governor's debate, March 14th. I'm sure you guys have all heard of it. 7 p.m. is the main event. Bethel, Deal, Medina. 5 p.m. we're gonna do a forum like we did tonight. We might have to I don't know how we're gonna do it. That was 2 hours, and it felt like it was like not even remotely enough time. Anyway, so if you guys want to help out with that, message Rob is probably the guy is heading up the events committee. So message Rob, and we're having meetings and stuff to come up with the plan for that. This one's going to be probably a little easier than the Turning Point, not as crazy, but because it's just an auditorium, it's like already set up for us. But we're going to try and have booths outside for the candidates so they can meet and greet with people before the event and things like that. It's a long event. That's like 4 or 5 hours. So we're trying to work on refreshments or something. They won't let us eat in the auditorium. But what's that question?
Oh
They have scheduling conflicts, so they might change their mind if there's enough press that they're not there. I don't know. We're gonna try. But those are our candidates for now.
Oh damn, the Cribbons guy left. I was gonna come talk to him real quick. Troy Cribbons. Yeah, did he?
And we have a moderator, Taryn Feist. She's a conservative activist.
My name's TJ, by the way, in case I've never met any of you.
I'm Brad Hagan.
TJ?
Dan Weicker.
Sorry, the
Jennifer Wagner, we're
Nice to meet you. Okay, nice to meet you all. I have a farm upriver here in town. I've been up here about 10 years, but I go to all the Democrat protests here in town, and I'm the only guy that goes out there and interacts with them. And I have some good conversation. Like to be fair, I mean they're all 20, 30 years older than me, so they're not too big of a worry to me, but I have conversations with them. I've had a lot of really good conversations with a lot of locals, but I've also been assaulted a bunch of times, been spit on, hit with flagpoles, pushed in the middle of traffic and stuff like that, but I still go out there and I'm still kind. I don't yell. I yelled at them once, but I deleted that video. But I'm very kind to them, and I pray with them and everything like that. And I just try and show them that not all conservatives are, evil.
These are the 5 things I came up with.
That's my
This is
goal.
not like final. Let me know. We need help. We need tons of help coming up with how to do this. But these were my ideas.
You know, I took my pastor from my church.
Right, we just.
I took my pastor from my church out there one time with me because I was like, if anybody will be able to stay calm while I'm out there, it's gonna be my pastor.
People excited. There were people in this room who have never
He started yelling at people too. So no, I just go out there by myself.
First time they've been interested in actually getting.
But hey, it was good meeting y'all.
Educate voters.
Your mom's nice.
Candidates get supported, right? So, for instance, at the end of this election cycle, if I talk to one of these candidates and they're like, Chris, you know, I felt like you guys had a lot of power and motivation in February, but then it kind of dropped off and I didn't really feel supported. That would really suck. Okay, so the definition of success I have with number 3 is I want to talk to all these candidates, even the ones that I might not find to be the one I'm going to vote for, right? All these conservative candidates, I want them to feel supported. So come the end of May, when I talk to them, I want them to say, yes, I felt supported by your group. I felt supported by your people. That is succeeding whether they win or lose, okay? Increase election excitement. By doing all these things, you're going to increase excitement beyond our group, out there in the community. They're going to feel that buzz. They're going to be like, hey, there's a bunch of stuff going on. There's a bunch of key issues because we're all kind of shouting it from the rooftops. And then the last one, we got to work as a team. At the end of this in May, we still need to be a team. We need to work as a team. We need to continue to be a team. And that's success. We might lose every one of these seats, but if we've worked it as a team and we still feel like a team come May, that's winning. I know that sounds like, it's very liberal of me to talk like that, right? Like that's lovey-dovey, but come on, seriously, like guys, the finances I talked about, that's one way we've been losing in the past, but this is also another way we've been losing. It's stuff that gets really easily overlooked and we need to focus on it. So, again, March 10th is a deadline. People can still file for these positions. These are pretty well covered. Clerk and sheriff, there's only one person running and they're the incumbents. So we don't have, and it's not a contested race. Precinct committee person, there's 200 seats. I'll get to your question in 1 second. There's 200 positions, are like 198 in Coos County. We need to fill all of them. So please, this is our last push till March 10th to get those seats filled. That's the QR code. And talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors. We need more conservatives getting involved. Yes, Patty.
On the previous slide, I think a huge success we could achieve would be to increase the voters turnout.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the main things. And I think people would vote if they were educated about.
So the biggest thing, and stay on me to do this and a couple other people, but come like the end of April, what people are going to be asking, who do you vote for? Who do I know? How do I know who to vote for? How do I even know who's running? Now there's going to be a voter pamphlet. That's going to be kind of like the bios that I had up there, but it's not going to be in depth. So we're going to put out that candidate questionnaire and we're going to compile on the website, but reach out, make sure that does happen. Sometimes things fall through the cracks. Make sure we get that website put together, make sure it gets shared all over social media because that's going to be key to sharing true conservative values. A pamphlet with just a quick bio is not really going to do any of that justice. So that is definitely going to increase voter awareness, voter turnout. Because I've been there with a ballot and just been like, I've never even heard these names. I have no clue. And reading the bio, I don't know Rick from Rick. your opponent's name is Rick. Yes, Patty. Sorry, I cut you off.
I think we should do door to door.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because there's a lot of unaffiliated voters.
There are more unaffiliated voters than registered Republicans or Democrats. There's about, I believe, 10,000 registered Democrats in Coos County. And then I think it's like, someone correct me if I'm wrong, it's like 15,500 registered Republicans. And then I think it's 19,000 non-affiliated. And then you also have independents on top of that. So it's a huge chunk. Yes, absolutely door knocking. Especially like going with the campaign, with the candidate. That would really help out. Going with them, helping them through that. So
We will be organizing that. It's hard because right now we're waiting for like the actual ballots to be final on March 10th. So some of this is a little premature. Yes, Vanessa?
Going back to the PCPs. There are some of us that are PCPs right now that we need to re-up.
Yeah.
Not just the new ones, but the ones that were already PCPs. They still have to get that in.
Yeah, everybody has to file by March 10th. Yep. To be on the ballot. You can still file after, but I don't even want to tell you that. Because you won't be on the ballot. It'll have to be written in. So March 10th to be on the ballot, that's the easiest way. 3 people will check your name and then you will become PCP. It's that easy to start getting involved in the party. Yes.
How do we get on one of those walking lists of,
So-
you know, people in our neighborhood who are PCPs?
We will put something like that together. Because I don't know how we're gonna quite do the endorsements, it will probably just be like, you'll be on this person's team, that person, it won't be like,
I'm not talking about working for a candidate. I mean, as a PCP, I had a walking list in my neighborhood.
so that's where
20, and I'd like to get an updated one.
I don't have access to that, unfortunately.
Somebody,
Who does?
somebody
Mike?
keeps those lists, like, oh, no, you can't get, I don't even know. Who? The last person I got one from.
I can tell
Jerry
you.
Brill.
I'll tell you.
The
who
chair
has
of
it,
our
the
party has it.
Password to the Oregon database
Somebody
It's-
controls it.
is Michael.
So every
I've been
county,
trying to get that list. I still use the same list.
Guys,
we
I'm trying to
had
give you an
years
answer.
ago.
Come on.
Get it from your
I'd
county
like
clerk.
to have it
the
updated.
county, or sorry, it comes from the RNC, has the biggest database. They have the most money for that database. They give that to the state. That state gives it to the county through the county chair. I've asked repeatedly for access to that. We, in Danessa, even went through a training on how to use that data. We have not been given permission to use it.
Yeah, I've gotten no response.
No.
Right, we've not been given permission to use it.
Monique has access to it.
Right, so we do have access to it through Monique Despain, who's running for congressional seat. I'm not sure how that will work. We might have to just use that while we're working with her campaign, but that is something that you can absolutely help with. We need to help her get elected. That, we haven't talked about her at all tonight. And
Got a hand up over there.
Yes, Steve.
Sorry, I guess
Go
I'm
for it.
asking a question, but, can you just do a public records request from your county clerk?
No, so we can get the voter rolls. We,
No, PCPs.
Yes, we can.
Does the
So we're talking about a
PCPs
walking list. Steve.
In your precinct, in your precinct.
and by the way, all these questions, if I haven't answered them well enough, please email me. I will get back to you. Also, if you want any data, I will give you any data I have, and if I don't have it, I will try and get it for you. The problem is I have tried repeatedly to get, there's an actual app, there's a whole system, a very well done system that you can just pull it up on your phone and like walk down the street and it will tell you what houses to go to that are most effective use of your time. Okay, we are being blocked access to that. I don't have the answer to why.
We can pay like $45 to the county if we wanted to get the most current.
No, I have stuff like that.
But the access to.
I have the voter rolls. It's just a list of,
It's your precinct. I want to communicate with
registered
people in my precinct, and I try every election, but I'm using a list that's at least 12 to 10 years old.
Yeah.
And no one will give me an updated list, and I've done the same thing, ask for it. and
so
I
the
have
lists
no luck.
you can get have very little information, contact information. They might have a
Well,
name and
it-
address, but they don't have phone number or email or anything.
It's a fuzzy line on the precincts too, so to sort that Excel spreadsheet, you can do it, but it is
I-
not very accurate.
I can get people a precinct list, but just, it's gonna have like 2% phone numbers.
Right.
The RNC database has really good information. Yes, Rob.
So the lists he's talking about for the walking list are the most current and active photos that you want to get to. We did something like that with the Todd Bond campaign. Operation 1776 as a service where you can pay for one of those lists if you want to pay for it. And that is an option, but that is what we are left with because the availability through the party is through the chair, and we're not going to get that. Plain and simple.
and we don't have an answer for why. But that's the only thing that I could come up with, other than going to another service to do those same lists.
All good stuff. We gotta move on. We're getting into the weeds on this. This is definitely something to bring up at our next meeting because it will be more timely and we will be actually focused on getting out there in the streets, talking to people.
You can put yard signs out saying, a vote for me as a PCP. You can put those out.
I just talked to dog walkers going by my house.
There you go.
I needed 3, but I took it seriously and I ended up with 300 and some odd.
Yeah, just start talking with people. I do it at the grocery store. My girlfriend.
And then going
Start talking
shopping
every
or
day.
anything else. Grocery store, hey, I'm your PCP.
Oh, good.
All right, I gotta move on. On a somber note, I don't know if you guys know, Tom Brown was a PCP. He passed away recently, a couple of weeks ago. We're doing a flag wave for his funeral. His funeral is on Saturday at the Ocean View Memory Gardens. That's Ocean Boulevard, kind of Empire area, end of that ocean there. We're gonna do a flag wave starting around 8 a.m. The funeral is at 10 a.m.
Where
I'm gonna,
is the flag wave in front of the?
On the boardwalk.
Is it in front of the Memory Gardens?
yes, there's, yeah, I'm not bad. good at
Ocean
describing
Boulevard.
And
it.
it starts at 8 a.m.
Okay.
Yes,
And the funeral's at 10.
funeral's at 10. Yeah, I mean, maybe come at like 8:30 and you'll see where we are. You'll see the flags. I'm gonna be there because I know, Tom would have been at mine
Yes.
waving a flag, so. You guys know this, we do these weekly meetups. Wednesdays, except not tonight, 'cause you're here, but 7 to 9 at the headquarters, we do pizza and drinks. Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., we do coffee and snacks. We won't be there this Saturday because we'll be leaving the old glory. Sign petitions, Rob is there. Rob, when are you normally there?
We got people there from 2 to 6, Monday through Wednesday, every Monday through Wednesday. Elmer and Carol are there on Monday, I'm there on Tuesday and Wednesdays.
Very cool. Sign petitions, there's like 4 or 5?
5 now.
5 now,
And we
okay.
got 2 more coming.
Don't sign the one about no hunting. I think everybody in here is already, this was more for the bigger audience. I should have done this earlier. But if you're not signed up for our weekly email updates, I've been starting this. It's just gonna list what's going on for the week. I'm gonna start putting in local meetings, like city council meetings and commissioner meetings, links to their agendas. Sometimes they're really boring, sometimes they're not. Like, did you guys know that the North Bend City Council is putting a ballot measure on to change their city charter? And why are they changing their city charter? Because they want to give power to the city council to be able to remove somebody. Normally you do that through a recall. They're trying to empower their city council to be able to remove somebody who they don't like literally, like you guys, I don't know how familiar you were with the Susanna Nordoff situation, but they essentially didn't like her. They held a public trial.
That's right.
But then at the end of it, they couldn't do anything.
You guys, I'm gonna have to go here maybe before they're finished.
People can do that, and that's what they did. They ran an election. The election was like 6 months later, and she lost. That's the way to do it. Somebody else got elected in her place, and that's the proper way to handle those situations. They want to change their city charter to allow the city council to just eliminate somebody from their council. So get involved. I'll have those in email updates.
Nullifying the election, because anytime anyone's elected that they don't like.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, there's a caveat. They have to hold a public hearing. And then they can get rid of it. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for being here. That was it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Good job, Chris.
Come and get a shirt.
Oh, yeah. Good.